Fascinating in its scale and luxury, the cities that have grown up on the shores of the Persian Gulf in recent decades seem to be an absolute miracle. Against the background of these notable and widely discussed megaprojects, the project of the multi-billion-dollar sea city of Sabah Al Ahmed Sea City in Kuwait takes a back seat, the construction of which took 25 years and continues to this day. For Europe and America, the 25-year term seems unrealistically short. For the Middle East, where megacities grow, as if in timelapse mode, and this is incredibly long. We will tell you why in this issue. If you delve into history, it turns out that the construction of Sabah Al Ahmed Sea City in Kuwait was conceived in the last century. For the first time, the idea of erecting a new city for 100,000 inhabitants on the shores of the Persian Gulf was announced in the early 1980s. Then the initiator and inspirer of the project was the richest Kuwaiti developer Khalid Youssef Al Marzouk, who agreed to fully finance the creation of a new city through his company Lala. The Korean billionaire had big plans, as oil refineries and heavy industry enterprises were developing rapidly in the country. They employed thousands of specialists who needed to settle somewhere. Even then it became clear that everyone would soon be cramped in the capital, and traffic jams would become one of the main factors encouraging people to run away from the city. In addition, the idea of building a huge sea city south of Kuwait City was to meet the local demand for life by the sea. Kuwaiti people love the sea. Historically, this was the basis of their commercial activities before the start of oil production. Despite all the prospects of the project and the availability of money for its implementation, Al Marzouk's plan was destined to break on the rocks of big geopolitics. The delay in the start of construction occurred as a result of an event preceding the Gulf War, namely, due to the invasion of Kuwait by Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein in 1990. With the aim of making it the 19th province of Iraq. And although the Iraqi occupation of Kuwait lasted only 7 months, it took the country more than a decade to recover from the trauma of the invasion. And only by 2003, the Sabah Al Ahmed Sea City construction project was unfrozen, and its implementation was taken over by Khalid Youssef Al Marzouk's son, Fas. Thus, starting with the withdrawal of Raxco and swimming and up to 2003, 12 years were missed. But over the next 13 years, the lost time was completely made up, and in the middle of 2016, Sabah Al Ahmed Sea City was solemnly declared open. However, construction is still ongoing. One of the key features of the new city project was the principle of its structure. Prior to the construction, this area was occupied by an abandoned salt marsh, which was called Sabah. As a result of the drainage of the bottom and its purification from silt, a rugged terrain was formed, which it was decided to divide into quarters, and the areas below sea level were removed into channels and flooded with seawater. So the Persian Gulf went almost 6 miles inland, forming a springboard for the construction of Arab Venice. In order to give the city the planned layout, it was necessary to move millions of tons of sand with the help of dozens of bulldozers, excavators, and giant dump trucks. Silt deposits in lagoons and on land had to be separated from sand suitable for construction and delivered to predetermined dump areas. It is assumed that by the time the project is fully completed, more material will be moved than was excavated during the construction of the Suez Canal. Unlike many other coastal projects in the Persian Gulf, where millions of tons of material were sent to sea, the opposite was done in the city of Sabah Al Ahmed Sea City. It was not the land that was transferred to the sea, but the sea to the land. To do this, up to 7 kilometers of low-lying ecologically poor salt marshes were excavated. This allowed the creation of lagoons and islands. and also to fill with water about 9.5 million square meters of territory. Interestingly, this whole huge network of waterways was designed so that it was completely washed by the force of the tides. Without proper flushing and water exchange, waterways would soon become hypersalty, devoid of oxygen and susceptible to any contaminant that might accidentally enter the water. This would lead to a stagnant body of water unable to support a vast ecosystem. To implement this project, a system of 6 giant gates with an area of 50 square meters was designed and installed, which allowed water flows to circulate around the city, and not just there and back. Computer models showed that this led to the replacement of 90% of all water in the system within 10 days. Thanks to the most flushing canal system since the opening of waterways, more than 1,000 species of marine macrobiota, more than 100 species of fish and shellfish, including one new to science, have been registered in the lagoons. Now, when the Sea City continues to be built, workers from 20 countries of the world, mainly from India, are employed at the facility, who sometimes have to work in unbearable conditions. In the height of summer, from June to October, they are released from work during the hottest hours, when it is stifling heat, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. On such days, work is in full swing, after sunset, so as not to keep up with the plan planned for a day. In general, the city construction project was divided into 10 stages, with a total length of 25 years. And this period does not seem so huge if you delve into the details of the project. First of all, such a long period is explained by the scale. The area of the new city is comparable to Manhattan. At the same time, the area is constantly exposed to extreme heat up to 50 degrees or more. High temperatures cause big problems with concreting. Because of this, many works stretched for many months stopped during the daytime. The addition of chilled water and ice to the solution was required to reduce the temperature to an acceptable level. In addition, the project provides for the use of a special type of asphalt with a high bitumen content, otherwise the roads will simply melt from the heat. In total, the volume of asphalt laid is comparable to the area of 703 football fields. Secondly, the project pays great attention to protection from possible natural threats. For example, the height of the land throughout the city has been raised to a level where it will not be affected by flooding, no matter how terrible the forecasts of global warming are. Materials extracted from lagoons were used for this purpose. The third is perhaps the most important thing. Why has the construction project stretched for such a long time? This is a matter of conscious attitude to the environment and long-term planning of an environmentally sustainable environment. In order to turn the desert landscape into a habitable natural environment, Kuwaiti developers have already invested millions of dollars in the ecosystem of the new city. For this purpose, a nursery was built here for breeding mangroves and other plants resistant to high salinity of seawater and high temperatures. After an unsuccessful start, the loss of all seedlings imported from Saudi Arabia by a strong hail that deprived young plants of leaves 5 years ago, today hundreds of thriving mangrove plants can be seen along the perimeter of the islands. According to the project, artificial islands within the boundaries of the new city should be covered with such mangrove forests in the foreseeable future, and their appearance will significantly improve the local microclimate, strengthen artificially created zones from leaching, weathering, and also significantly increase marine biodiversity. In addition, the project provides for the creation of conditions for the growth of corals that will fill the waters of the artificial bay with life. According to the measurements of ecologists, the first coral plantations are already beginning to appear in the area of the new city, and with them hundreds of species of marine life. From any point of view, the Sabah Al Ahmed Sea City project is huge. Never before has a person had the opportunity to implement such large-scale projects to fill desert territories with seawater. Never before in the Persian Gulf region have such balanced measures been taken to preserve and restore the environment. Never before have the Kuwaitis themselves had such a long sandy coastline suitable for recreation. Upon completion of this innovative project, more than 200 kilometers of beach will be created. Sabah Al Ahmed Sea City is an excellent example of how, with the fall in oil prices, the Kuwaitis invest their wealth and assets to give their country a post-oil future, and the world an example of a conscious attitude to nature and its riches. Behind the huge work done to transform the salt marsh into a habitable place. Ahead of filling the city with infrastructure and life, the Sabah Al Ahmed Sea City project gives hope that there is still a place for great miracles in this world, which can be expected for 25 years and much more.